Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Sam here. Oop, we might fall a little bit. Sam here, United People's TV. Welcome to another morning news live show. It's West Ham tonight. 2 games in a few days. Been a while since we've been able to say that as United fans, because it's normally just 1 game a week. Anyway, there's not going to be a game for 13 days after this. Can we make it 5 from 5? I'm going to run through all the West Ham preview later. And remember, tune in tonight, I think about 7 p.m. I'll be here with the pre-match build-up show. We can have some fun with that one. We did it for the Spurs game for the first time, and I'm going to be here before every single Premier League game for the rest of the season. We'll also run through the latest news, speak a little bit on Tonali, a little bit on Fabrizio, kind of waffling on transfers, a little bit on the game itself, Carrick's press conference, a little conversation about Cobby, and you can let me know what you want to talk about in the chat as always. Fire any questions. I'll try and include as many of you as I possibly can. Let me say hello to everybody. Let's get on with today's show. Who have we got here? We have, we've got Khan and Maddie and Steph. Good morning to the mods. We've got Ant there as well. And Gungchi, good morning to you, my man. We've got some members. We've got Brian. We've got Michael Sykes. We've got Jonas. Simmy Skimmed. We've got Monkton John. We've got Jamlek, Random Sparky, and Shax dropping in 5 memberships as well. Good morning to you, Shax. How are you doing, my friend? Absolute Don. Plenty of Dons. Mate, I mean this in the politest way possible. I hope that Frank, the lad who gets his haircut, disappears into the shadow realms after tonight. Your hair is cut. Vamos. End the conversation. Because I'm bored of seeing people asking about it, talking about it. Unfortunately for him, he's become a symbol of United not quite being good enough to win 5 games in a row, which I think only Liverpool and Villa have achieved this season. I'm not sure how many teams achieved it last season. It is a really hard thing in the Premier League these days to win 5 games in a row. Anyway, I hope we do it. And as I said, just disappear to the shadow realm. Woof. I don't think he's a bad bloke, but he's very much become a symbol for United aren't good enough, which pisses me off. Oh, not Vamos. Yeah, exactly. Vamos. Go. Shadow realm. Disappear. Vamos. I'm right. I'm saying that. Yeah. Anyway, should we get on with today's show? I think we should. As always, please do get involved. Fire in your comments and I'll try and engage with... yeah, I know the TV's not there yet. Go away, Pranav. The TV is currently sat there broken on the floor, which is ever so slightly annoying. Right. First thing I want to say, and you can say, well, I can say this, you can agree with me or not. For me, this is a really good indication of Carrick's influence growing at this football club, okay? Oh, man, I can see down there, this community's coming up strong. It have been. Gungshi, you still haven't reached out via email. Maybe you don't want to, but I'd just love to be able to have a conversation with you off the live chat. Just, I suppose, get to know more about you and tell you a bit more about United People's TV and the plans we've got going on behind the scenes. I'd love to have you involved in those. And Freddie, good morning to you as well, gifting 5 memberships. Thank you to all of you. Now, let's get on with this. Let's get on with this one. We've heard about this mid-season friendly for quite a while. Okay? We've got the shortest season that we're ever going to have. Well, not ever, maybe ever going to have. Our shortest season at Manchester United in 100 years. 40 games. There's 13 days between Everton and West Ham. United were looking at doing a mid-season friendly trip to Kuwait, somewhere in the UAE, a money spinner. In the same way that at the end of last season, we did a money spinner tour in Malaysia and Hong Kong. I think we earned the best part of 10 mil for that. It looks like, now I don't think this is just Carrick coming and saying, no, this absolutely cannot happen. But United, it seems like they're scrapping the plans for that. I'm going to read through the article because it definitely feels like Carrick's had an influence on this. The appetite for that game in this gap, this 13-day gap which now exists, has now waned. Tentative plans have been put on the back burner. We can go down here and read a little bit more detail. Another option for Michael Carrick was to take the players away for a warm weather training camp after the West Ham game, but he said no to that, and I believe that was in Florida. I think so. Like Rory down there saying, are you so opposed to it? Would be more money as a trade-off for less training time? I don't necessarily think a warm weather training camp would have been the worst thing in the world. Would it have been a major distraction? Not really. We've got 13 days. And this is a consequence of Manchester United's players not being good enough, failing in the lack of European football for this season, and kind of covering for the shortfall. But I think this is quite important down here. Carrick's basically saying, look, we could do with more time on the training ground. He feels that the extra time he has with his players on the training pitches is helping his team become more defensively solid. And instead of United flying to maybe Q8, maybe somewhere like that, they're going to get around about 4 days off after tonight's game against West Ham. And I don't think there's going to be anybody that complains about that if United win and we're 5 from 5. So it's that combination, that trade-off. Like, sometimes you need to train more and train harder to get improved results, but then when you do get improved results, and sometimes you can reward your team, then it's all about boosting morale. It's like management goes both ways. Like, sometimes you got to be harsher, sometimes you got to be a little bit looser. When I say I'm surprised that United aren't doing this, A6 saying that risking injuries. Yeah, cool. You can call it risking injuries. You can look at it any which way you want, really. United have only got 40 games this season. So the idea of going and doing a warm weather training camp, staying in one place for like 3-4 days, and as part of that having effectively a friendly, I don't think that would have been a terrible thing. But Carrick, by the sounds of it, as I said, I don't think this is him, in the same, in the way that Amram got the Amazon documentary cancelled, that series. I'm grateful that he did that. I don't know whether this is Carrick stepping in that sense, but it sounds like he would have preferred, and it sounds like he's getting his way, that United stay or don't, basically just don't do it. Let me see what you're saying down here in the chat. Take some of the players' wages and let them rest. That will cover the costs. I'm pretty sure that's not how contracts work. Carl, you're saying, given how well the team are playing and the positive culture, it makes sense to stay put. As I said, if United win tonight and we go 5 from 5, for the first, can anybody tell me in the chat, when was the last time we won 5 in a row in the Premier League? This is the first time that we won 4 in a row since Eric Ten. I'm guessing it was Eric Ten Hag. Was it the same time? Because we were flying at that time. Remember that? Man. It's no wonder I was so filled with hope at that point. Didn't Fergie do this in 08 even though we were in the Champions League? I can't remember. I remember that we did the Club World Cup and then got booted out of the FA Cup as a consequence of doing that. I remember that. Some of you saying it was Jose. I think we looked at this, didn't we? Was it like the longest streak is, I think, 9 wins. 8 or 9 wins in a row. That was under Jose in like 2017. Right. Anyway, sounds like that money spinning mid-season tour is not going to be happening. I thought it was going to. Sounds like the club's probably reversing on it because we're in good form now. Let's run through the rest of the news. So Tonali, we've spoken about him. I don't think there's too much of an update to bring you in that sense. Like, he's appreciated at United. And this is just kind of, I'll be honest, it's a bit waffly. This is Fabrizio's latest on it.
First of all, Sandro Tonali.
A bit loud.
Questions on the situation of Sandro Tonali. Guys, it's important to say on Sandro Tonali there is going to be an important summer. A huge summer probably for him. Because as I told you, around the end of March, April, there will be conversations between Sandro Tonali's camp and Newcastle about the future. Let's see how Newcastle will react. But there is a possibility Sandro Tonali considers a new chapter for his career in summer 2026. There is interest from Italy. Juventus dream of Sandro Tonali, but this could be very expensive, so complicated. And then
blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so basically nothing from Fabrizio apart from, he's on the list. Someone down there saying we didn't get booted out of the FA Cup. We decided not to enter to go to the World Cup. It's kind of what, well, maybe my choice of words was incorrect. But yeah, we didn't play in the FA Cup that season. And the FA were pissed. They were angry, United, for that. So yeah, Tonali, on the list. Good. Fantastic. Thanks, Fabrizio. A little bit of a separate won this one. I found this quite interesting. Rashford's having a really good season numbers-wise at Barcelona. He's having an impact, for sure. And we've heard Hansi Flick speak about him. Now, the situation with Rashford, to remind you, they've got, I believe it's an option, not an obligation. They covered his wages in full this season. And I think there was a little bit of a loan fee. So I think the option is around about 26 million pounds. It's written there. And apparently, the Barca president, Joan Laporta, going up for election, he's had to now resign because the whole election process means that anybody who wants to get re-elected has to step back and somebody else steps in whilst the election's going on. Mate, I know that you look at Barcelona, like we talk about like ownership models. Like, Barcelona's a very different model with like an elected president, and there's actual fan involvement and fan influence. I wouldn't say I look at Barcelona with any sort of jealousy about how their football club is run. Yes, that's a great idea, Adam. I will consider putting a TV behind me. I might get one of my old monitors because I need to see if I can get a replacement for that, because that'll be expensive otherwise. But yeah, the Rashford one, I'll ask you down here in the chat. Do you think that they sign him on a permanent deal? I think so. It feels like for that price, clearly Rashford's happy in Barcelona. He needed that fresh start somewhere else. He is a good player. You might disagree with it, but he is a good player. He'll probably be going to the World Cup with England. He definitely will be going to the World Cup with England. I think he joins them. For 26 mil, they'd be kind of stupid not to. Yeah, well, Mike, Meshroom, you both think he'll go over there. So do you, Siraj. I think he will. It's just a bit odd with this whole election situation going on. Anyway, busy day today here at United People's TV Towers. We've got the live show now. Lunchtime video, I'll tell you, is going to be on Cobby. And I'm really, really, really going to enjoy doing this video. Because for this lad, he has had to deal with a ton of frustration this season. Rewind to all the work he put in pre-season with him and Yoro, and the extra work they were doing ahead of pre-season in their own time, to playing well in the pre-season, to then coming into the season and just being completely and utterly overlooked. And that was because Amorim, hey look, I'll run through it in today's video, but I'm looking forward to having this conversation. I think with each game, you could argue actually he just went straight in at City and was just impressive, and he was. Cover more ground against City and Arsenal than any player on the pitch. Against Spurs, the game just gone, he had more passes in the final third than any player in the Premier League that weekend. So we're seeing the physicality out of possession. We're seeing the ability on the ball in possession. We're seeing the different elements of Cobby's game coming together. This is where Amorim just looks like a fool. Truth be told. You know the support I had for Amorim largely. And the question marks and where my faith sort of waned throughout the whole time. We don't need to go back and rip that open again. But he ballsed up big time on the Cobby situation. I don't really know. Almost, when you're looking at what's going on now with Cobby, and like nothing's particularly changed, right? He's not all of a sudden become incredibly fit overnight. This is how Cobby's been all season. Now, confidence and momentum allows you to play with a different sort of swagger, but it almost feels like it was almost personal. Like it had to be something personal. It couldn't really have just been something to do with the footballing decisions because, well, you're playing Bruno out of position and you're playing Casemiro alongside a player who's going to leave spaces and therefore had to cover the... I wouldn't say it lost him his job, but of all the decisions he made, you could argue that keeping going back to the back three was the ultimate decision that didn't help him. But the way that he treated Cobby, the way that he overlooked Cobby and the justification for it, it's just looking more and more stupid with every passing game. That's the way I would describe it. And that's why I'm going to be doing today's video. To be honest, might have been good for Cobby. I see the hunger in his gameplay, says Wands. Hey, look, Same with anything in life. Like frustrations and failures will drive you to improve and be a better person because you can look back and go, right, well, I've experienced that and I don't want to experience that again. Once you sort of see the other side of the coin, I suppose. You can look at that in a slightly positive sense if you want, but he was mistreated massively. And like you always, mate, you constantly put the brakes on any conversation with Cobby. You thought he should have gone out. He should be sold and somebody sort this, and now he's doing that. Oh, actually, hold it. No, brakes. No, can't. No. He is a very good footballer. It's why Napoli wanted him. It's why tons of Premier League clubs want him. When you see a footballer that talented, you can praise that footballer without all of a sudden go, oh, he's God's gift to football. It's not what anybody's saying. But from where he was and the frustrations, it's been an immediate switch. And with each game, he's growing in confidence and influence, both in and out of possessions. That deserves to be praised, and that will be pointed out in today's lunchtime video. And we're going to cover the whole story, really. Oh, are you saying, Sam, could you do an Ahmad versus Cobby life at United? It's a random video. I'm not sure what you want from that one. I'll be honest. Clinton saying United fans again with the extremes. I'm not here talking about extremes. I think Cobby's had kind of he's had some extremes this season, really. He probably got left in the shadows. Completely overlooked. Like 2 minutes here, 3 minutes there. Other than that, Cobby just sat there. Whilst our midfield was consistently being a bit of a problem because Bruno was being played out of position. And again, that looks foolish. Like, to not play Cobby, you play Bruno. And you kind of taken away from the ability to play Cobby and the ability for Bruno to be further forward. It's just, just odd decisions. Anyway, should we speak about the West Ham game? Coming in. Joni's saying, isn't Euro Heaven under Carrick in the same spot Cobby had under Amorim? I think, unfortunately for Euro and Heaven, the reality is this. We've just gone from a system which has 3 centre-backs to a system which has 2 centre-backs. We've lost a position. In the same way that we've gained a position in midfield. We've gone from a 2 in midfield and no real number 10 position to a midfield and a 4-2-3-1 where you have a number 10. So we've gained a midfield position, hence why Bruno's flourishing. Cobby's now flourishing. But at the same time, you're now having question marks about Heaven and opportunities, Euro and opportunities, and the exact same crunch point. A lack of games. That's it. That's been United's... Let's not say that. It definitely wasn't United's biggest problem this season. But in terms of keeping all the players happy, a lack of games is a big problem. Has been all season and will continue to be. And I feel sorry for Heaven because he was in really, really good form. I thought Euro started this season. We'll speak about Euro in a second, actually. Started the season well, but then sort of like disappeared a little bit. Big up to Parry, by the way, who's done this design. And can I say, I know he's not tuning in, but Archie, leading on the social team, he's passed his driving test today. So, ladies and gents, round of applause. We all know that the best drivers pass 5th time, right? I was such an idiot with my driving test. I had my driving test booked in 6th form, and it just so happened that the test date I got was the last day of school, like muck-up day, where you try and cause chaos. Yeah, I tried to cause chaos. Anyway, so because of that, I bloody cancelled my driving test, didn't I? Just for the fun. I didn't want to miss that day. So then I didn't pass my test until I was like 20, I don't know, later than that. Yes, Murgatron, you passed 5th time. Come on, the 5th gang. Anyway, Archie, you passed 1st time. Congrats, Mo. Jibek, you're saying, why does part of our fan base hate our own and glorify suspect people from elsewhere? Saw it with Oli McTominay, Marcus, now Cobby, and Amorim was a genius. I don't really know what the question is there. I think anybody... I suppose it kind of did. You can use the word hate, I suppose, if you want to. With McTominay, misprofiled. I don't think anybody questioned his sort of character, but people questioned his ability to play from the ball from deep, because that's not his game. Playing at Napoli, he's not really doing that. Although he is getting significantly better at that and driving with the ball. But that's because he's receiving the ball in better positions rather than receiving the ball with his back facing the midfield 10 yards away from his own goal. Problem. Fourth time, gang. You're not quite there yet. Right. Anyway, let's speak about the game. Should we get a prediction in? Let's get that back up there. What's your prediction? Bam, 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 bam. United win, draw, or West Ham win. Does anyone remember the game against West Ham last season? I'm about to remind you of Delo missing an open goal. Yeah, I'm sorry. I remembered it. Well, I was reminded about it earlier, so sorry, you can suffer too. Oh, I've used Amarin's word. That was the game that got Eric Ten Hag sacked. Boo. Don't think anyone's going to be getting sacked after this. Let's run through it. Team news. Mason Mount, he's not going to be available, and neither's De Ligt. And again, it really does feel that they are downplaying what's going on with De Ligt and his back. It really, really does. I think Carrick said he'd be back in a couple of weeks. I'm kind of expecting something to happen in the next week or two. They're not going to call it a huge setback, but I think it's just going to... The way that Maguire is playing this season, as it stands, I kind of feel I would almost be surprised if we see De Ligt start that many games for us. I'll be honest. Right, let's go look at some of your predictions. 3-0 United said ASEC. 4-1 says Jace with a Delo screamer to make up for it. 2-1 United's going to be a hard game. Siraj saying it's going to be a tough game. Harder than Spurs. We're away and West Ham are in form. The tactics are going to have to be spot on. And speaking of, I'll run through the tactics in a little bit. But can I cheer you up this morning by saying this straight away? I kind of cheer you up and kind of remind you of what we've just come from. Man United have got more points this season. At this point, with, was it 14 games to go? 13 games to go? We've got more points than we had in the whole of last season. Disgusting. We're trying to use that not flushed. Anyway, it is disgusting. That's how bad last season was, and that's how much United have improved this season. We're currently 4th, right? We're 3 points behind. No, they won. Either way. Yep, we've scored more goals. We've got more points. We've certainly improved, and Carrick's been obviously a big marker of that since he's come in. These two boys been important. You know what I was going to do today? I was going to do a video on Martinez, which I think I might just hold till next week now, because we're going to have 13 days, and I really, really hope that we get that win tonight, just to allow that feeling of United winning 5 in the spin to exist for 2 weeks. That would just be a really good place to go into a gap, which it's not really good, is it? We should have an FA Cup game in there, but we weren't. We lost against Brighton. You almost kind of wish that Carrick came in a game earlier. Although, if I remember correctly, did Brighton have Liverpool in the FA Cup? So would our game on Brighton fixtures, I swear they got drawn against Liverpool at Anfield as well. They bloody did, man. That would be us. I'm kind of annoyed that Carrick got robbed of that. 8 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday night at Anfield. I'm Devo for that. I'm Devo for that. Oh, that would have been... Imagine we had gone into that off 5 wins in this... man. Got robbed of that. Anyway. Stupid arsehole. So Talib saying we need that Tonali analysis video. Well, we're going to be... Don't worry, the team's working on that. Won't be bringing it out just yet. Team news. Well, not team news. Squad news. Travelling squad. Senny. Bayanda Heaton. Now, Yoro's not there on that list. And apparently there was no sign of him. But then he's popping up an Instagram story post. Who knows? What's everyone's take on Lenny this season? I think when Lenny started this season, he was playing right centre-back. And for the first few, quite a few games, really, Lenny Yoro was looking really good. I can't remember what game it was where he had a wobble. But there were a couple of games where he had some wobbles. And then he kind of got I think he got taken out of the team, whether it was protection or... Was it Crystal Palace? It was after Crystal Palace, I think. Where... I think it was after Palace. Was it Mason Mount went over to him and consoled him? Because I think he made it... That's it. He tripped Mateta, I think, for the penalty. I think he had a brilliant start to the season, as did De Ligt, but then he kind of tailed off. And now, because Maguire and Martinez are in this team, and we've only got 2 centre-backs, it's tough for him. I don't know how many games he's going to be getting. It's going to be injury dependent. Let me see what you're saying down here. I'm pretty sure it was Crystal Palace that game. Jamlet, you're saying up and down season. Kerwin, you're saying De Ligt's absence is a worry for me. Not from my perspective, because we've got Maguire. I think Maguire and De Ligt offer a lot of the similarities of that sort of combative centre-back who really is aggressive and wants to go in and engage. I think Maguire and De Ligt are quite similar in that sense. Celia, you're saying, I've gone from will United win to United already have the 3 points. That's how Carrick's restored my confidence levels. That's what I titled my video this week after the Spurs game to I'm starting to believe. That's exactly the mindset I explained. I'm allowing myself to go into a game thinking that United are going to win and not be as scared that United they're just going to let me down. They're just going to let me down. I'm waiting for it. Then just going to let me down. Tonight's going to be tough, by the way. My prediction is a 2-1 win. But I don't think it's going to be one of those wins. Like Spurs, quite enjoyable, quite comfortable. Ole's at the end. I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be more of a battle. But I think United come out on the right side of it. Let me see what you're saying down here. John, you're saying Lenny needed the cup games for match time. He's one of those players in particular that's going to be suffering from the lack of games in the second half of this season. Just lacks confidence. Yoro's young, someone's saying down there. Only play once a week, so little chance to play. I blame the 3 centre-back system. He'd shine in this current team. I think he probably would be more confident in a back 4 system. I'm pretty sure that's where he was playing at Lille. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see what happens next season with our centre-backs, if I'm honest. Realistically, what you want in any top-level elite team, 2 players per position. Does that now mean that we've got 5, so someone's going to have to miss out. You've got Martinez and Maguire as your 2 starting centre-backs right now. You've also got De Ligt in that team. But then you've got Yoro in heaven. So you've got 5 centre-backs. And there's 2 positions. Now, if United, fingers crossed, we're back in the Champions League next season. We're playing in the FA Cup. We've got the League Cup. You're going to be playing 3 games a week. Ideally, probably through to February. Depending on how you get on. And then anything past that point, you're having a really good season. But having 5 centre-backs for 2 positions is tough because there's probably still going to be one person that misses out. Now, I don't know what goes on with Maguire after this season. Remember, his contract runs out. It could well be that this is the last season of Maguire, but the way this is going now, the way that his influence is growing in this team, if Carrick stays, you kind of be surprised if Maguire, well, actually would kind of all depend on whether or not Maguire signed a significantly reduced contract. I think there's more possibility of that happening than Casemiro. Casemiro's obviously left. It's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Someone down there saying Maguire should be the filler if he's 5th choice. I don't know if he would be. It's kind of Maguire or De Ligt are a similar sort of centre-back. Martinez is in his own... If he's fit, Martinez is the only one of those 5 centre-backs where I'm pointing out and saying guaranteed to be starting. Maguire and De Ligt, I think you've got an argument about certain games where maybe Heaven might be more suitable. Maybe Yoro. But Martinez, if he's fit, he starts every game. Every important game. But yeah, let's see what goes on with Lenny Yoro tonight. See whether he's in the squad or not. Love a match day now. There isn't so much dread involved. Yeah. It's nice, isn't it? KUD saying it's sad I can't become a member. Live in Zimbabwe. YouTube memberships are unavailable. I'm sorry about that. I'm not going to do about that. I will not make a poll about haircuts. Shubba-dubba. Something that Carrick said in his pre-match press conference. Think you're going to be seeing a fair amount of this tonight. Of all the teams that we have played, I would expect, not that I think that West Ham are just purely going to sit in a deep block, but it's more likely. If there was a game tonight, worst case scenario, tonight United concede in the first 15 minutes. That is a bad scenario to get in against this West Ham team. Because then you give them the ability to really sit deep and disciplined. We've got to push forward, leave a little bit more space, and you see Bowen and Somerville. Tonight, you're going to have to see a good performance. Like, I think quietly, Shaw and Delo have actually been quite good in these last few games. I'll be honest. I gave them props after the Spurs game. I think tonight, they're going to have a more visible game. Like, Delo's going to be presumably up against Somerville, who... He's right up there with Bruno Fernandes in terms of the league's in-form players. He scored 5 in his last 5 games. I think that's all competitions. But still, Somerville is dangerous. And then you've got Juve coming in the overlaps. Good cross from him at the weekend for West Ham's second goal against Burnley. So yeah, I think if United win tonight, we're going to really need that 4-4-2 compact. The shape that we showed against... City and Arsenal in particular, where we did 2 things. Number one, we dropped into that 4-4-2 out of possession. So Cunha, presumably, if he plays that left inside forward, drops in, tucks in, and Ahmad goes alongside Kobe and Cass, and they become the 4. They stay narrow. They basically stay within the lines of the 18-yard box. But what we did do in those games, and this is something to think about, we gave the ball to Semenyo and Doku, and Saka and Trossard. Is it Martinelli or Trossard? I can't remember. Anyway, we gave it to the wide men of Arsenal and City and basically said, go on then. Do something. And they couldn't. So we've gone up against like the league's best wings. So I know that I'm saying that Somerville and Bowen are dangerous, but we've done it against Doku and Semenyo. We've done it against Saka and Trossard. So we've done it against tougher opposition on paper. But Somerville does have form. What we did at that point is we allowed the ball to go wide, and then we doubled up on it. So it was Ahmad coming back with Delo and doubling up on Doku. It was Dorgu doubling up on Semenyo. The other way around. It didn't really matter. You get the point. You're going to have to see Cunha and Ahmad tonight, most likely, properly doubling up on Somerville and Bowen. And then United almost hitting on the transitions. And the transitions work really well for us as well. But yeah, that's going to be where their danger point is. I don't think there's going to be too much in terms of central progression. I don't think there's going to be like barnstorming runs to the edge of our own box in the middle. They're going to go wide. They're going to try and go fast. So Delo and Shaw, if we win tonight, I think Delo and Shaw are going to be probably our men of the match. Man of the match? Men of the match. Brandon with Super Chat. I'll be the judge. Let's have a look. Bembe, what are you saying? What are the weaknesses of the first team that could cause us to lose games? I would say squad depth and subs. It's an interesting question. I'll ask everybody that then. Like, what would you say the current weaknesses are in this first team? Yeah, you definitely go squad depth. In certain areas, I think we've got depth up front. I think we've got options up front as well. Šeško hasn't started his last few games. That's the point. Central midfield, we know full well. I'm going to be worried about that tonight as well. If Casemiro starts, what happens when Casemiro goes off? Because we've seen a quite noticeable drop-off in the control of a football game with and without Casemiro in the last 20, 30 minutes of a game whenever he's taken off. Other than that, we seem pretty good at both attacking and defensive set pieces right now. Backup goalie? Nah, don't need backup goalie right now. Wouldn't be surprised if Shaw is given a break tonight, says Lexin. I'm not sure who you're starting. We don't have any depth there at all. Mazraoui? Delo? You'd be putting a non-natural left footer if you were to start him. If you were to give him a rest tonight. Mentality under real pressure, says Tim. But I knew that people were going to say that. But then I'll come back at you and say, Well, do you remember what happened against Arsenal? Conceded an 88th minute equaliser and went on 2 minutes later to score the winner at the Emirates. Do you remember what happened against Fulham? 2-0 up. Conceded a 92nd minute equaliser to then score a 96th minute winner. So I would say resilience in those pressure situations. They've pulled through quite a few times this season. More than those two occasions. Did a bit of Malacia? I don't really see Malacia playing. Anyway, it's kind of obvious how West Ham are going to be the danger point. It's Bowen and it's Somerville. Two very good players, so we're going to have to bring our A game to make sure that we... I don't want United to go to West Ham to set up to just stop West Ham playing. We've got to be really aware of it. We can't leave huge spaces there because they will exploit them. Right, we know one player who's going to be really important tonight, just as he is every single game. Oh, can I go to the poll, by the way? So what we got? 700 votes are in. Don't sit on the fence or anything, people. 90%. Wish we had like a little list of what you voted for in these. 90% of you are going for a United win. I'm with you, by the way. 2-1's my prediction. Well, I didn't get the prediction right the last one. I said, what did I go for? I didn't go for 2-0. I think I said 3-1. 3-2? 3-1. Don't know. Barry is saying we all wrote Shaw off. Fair play for him coming back and being so vital for us. Did I write Shaw off? I think I was more just the fact that I was personally done with seeing Luke Shaw being given more opportunities at Manchester United. And I think that's where credit is due, because what's changed? That's the thing I would love to know. Like, what is it that made the penny drop this season for Luke Shaw's body? What is it that he's physically changed, what he's doing off the pitch, what he's eating, how he's sleeping? How has his own sort of fitness regime changed? Was it just a little bit of luck? Is it a little bit of luck, a little bit of fortune? Has it been a different training techniques? Has it been better recovery? I don't know. Something has changed for Luke Shaw this season. And fair play to him. I still think that Manchester United should be like you can come like people. I know you're going to keep saying that, right? World Cup year this, World Cup year that. It being a World Cup year. It being a World Cup year doesn't mean that his body's going to cope with it more. And that's what I mean. Like, something's changed. There's more resilience inside his body. Less games, more recovery might be part of it. Playing one game a week might well be the thing that's allowed him to recover. Because Luke Shaw looks really good. It must be that, I suppose. Must be the fewer games a week. Oh yeah, I forgot. I did put a 5 on 4-1. Didn't get that, did I? Wah. Anyway, Bruno. You know full well that he is the main man. Tonight is just going to be equally as influential. You're going into every single game right now. You've probably got Bruno in your fantasy team, and you're probably pretty confident of him getting a goal or an assist. That's what Bruno is like. His output is there every single game currently. Didn't get that assist over Šeško. I wonder whether we'll see Šeško from the starting 11 tonight. It all depends on, and we don't really know this, do we? We don't know how fit the players are. Like, what their recovery is like. Are they coming into this game on Tuesday, having played on Saturday, going, yeah, you know what, I'm sharp, I'm ready, let's go. Let's start. Or is Carrick going to go, Casemiro took a big knock. And Mbeumo, is he fit? We'll find out. We're staying down here. Just waiting for the right week to triple captain him. Is there there won't be any game weeks where United play twice, are there? Don't think so. Question I want to ask you, right? Quiz question. It's not really a quiz. Which player in the Premier League do you think... let me rephrase this. Erling Haaland has scored the most non-penalty goals per 90 in the Premier League this season. Who's second behind him? That's the quiz question. Eventually got there. Little fun one. Start a quiz. Why's my music button not working? I'm joking. It's not Quiz Friday. Not whipping that song out. Yeah, who's second behind him? Chris, you saying you would start Sheshko? Thiago's a pretty fair shout, actually. But no, a lot of you are getting it right. The main man himself, Mr. Brian Mbeumo. Only Erling Haaland has scored more non-penalty goals per 90 in the Premier League this season. Some output from this man. I don't think this is captain hindsight. Like, we were all excited when we got linked with Mbeumo. I remember the buzz on that day. Because it felt like you were looking at a player at Brentford who was like everyone was saying, not that he's the next Mo Salah in that sense, but feels like he's ready to take that step up to that top level club and be the main man. And he's done it really quietly. That his personality. Remember when he came through, he goes, to begin with, my personality is a little bit sort of shy and reserved. It feels like Ahmad is the absolute perfect complementary personality to be playing alongside him. Because they're opposite. It's like an uncle and a nephew. But they blend really, really well together. Their styles of play at the beginning of the season, let's remember this, they clashed a little bit. Not that they clashed in terms of personality, but you saw Ahmad making the same sorts of runs that Mbeumo was. And you go, well, one of you should be going. And they were kind of getting used to each other's games. Now they're very used to it. Now they're very used to each other. That right-hand side has all season long been United's real threat. And Mbeumo, as I said, like the output there, only Haaland has scored more non-penalty goals. That's so impressive. And again, a very dysfunctional Manchester United team. But I suppose that's a bit unfair. Inconsistent United team. And long may it continue. Do I want to go and answer that door? Elevator music. Hasn't happened in a while. God, love the old elevator music. Can make a little clip. The times when Sam has gone to collect post. Anyway, big up to Mbeumo. Will I back him to score tonight? Yeah, I think I would. Something that's interesting. I saw this and I thought this was quite interesting. The 4 players who have won man of the match under Michael Carrick. Casemiro's won it twice, Maguire's won it once, and Bruno's won it once. All of the experienced heads have come through in these first 4 games. Get your predictions in now, right? Who's man of the match tonight? I'll ask you again in the live show. If you didn't join in for the Spurs game, you missed out. But I'm going to be live tonight. Kickoff's at what? 8:15. So the teams will be out at 7. So I'll probably go live at 6:45. I'll be live then, and I'll be live until 15 minutes before kickoffs. One kickoff. Who are you backing tonight? Let's have a look. We've got Giraffe, great name. You're saying Delo. Steve, you're saying Cunha. Couple of you, Kev and Kopi, saying Bruno, so is Funky. Someone coming down there saying Ahmad. And you're saying Casemiro again. Imagine that, 3 out of 5. Lots of you saying Bruno as well. You know my prediction is going to be? I think I'm going to go for Delo. I don't know why. It's not something I should ever really predict. I'm not sure I've ever predicted that in my life. Just got a sneaky feeling. A little bit of West Ham redemption for him. The fact that I think he's going to have a very busy game with Somerville, and the fact that I think that if we do win, Delo and Shaw have very good games, and like noticeably good games. Because sometimes you can have a fullback that has a good game, and you don't really speak about him that much. That's what I'm going to go for. Delo. Which I think technically falls into the experience head. Let's find out. I mean, watch this. I know how much I'm going to regret that when I come to the match reaction. I say, we'll find out. Fingers crossed. He proves me correct. Yeah, it's just the experience heads. Thought it was interesting. Shibba-bip. Right. Yeah, I know. I just lost my mind. It's early in the morning. Right, last minute or two of the show. Fire in any questions you want to ask me about the West Ham game or anything in general. Digley saying, has Delo ever locked a winger down? I'm pretty sure that I've seen him play damn well against Salah once or twice. I can't remember when. There have been moments. Like Delo, there is no player at United that will frustrate you more and he'll do something incredible and then 12 seconds later do something ridiculous. It's just like, huh? That's the sort of player he is. Yeah, Delo has been here for, 7, 8 years. I think Shaw's number 1. I think Delo's number 2. But Mike, make it 5 from 5, man. It would be big. It would be big. And really important question, chips, salt and vinegar or both? Vinegar in the bin. Never to be touched ever again. Disgusting. Whoever made that, filth. I'll take that argument to the grave. I'll swing out. Vinegar. Man, I hate vinegar. Love salt though. Salt and pepper though. Now we're talking. A little bit of balsamic. Yeah, you can get away with that. You can cook with that. It's nice. Malt vinegar. Satan's piss. It's disgusting. But thoughts on JJ Gabriel and first team training? I think that's a reflection of United knowing they have a player A who's got quality, and B, they know that if we don't give JJ Gabriel this obvious progression and the pathway for progression, that there's a chance that he leaves, I suppose. So that's kind of what I see about that. Yeah, my front door is quite near to the studio. So that's what we call. Rich, I don't know who you're going on about this Grimmer. I think you must have misheard it. It's like I said I called someone Grimmer on the podcast. I didn't call anybody Grimmer on the podcast. I called someone Voldemort. And we all know who that is. Yeah. Thou who shall not be named. Yeah, prawn cocktail. Now we're talking. Come on. Yeah, Wan-Bissaka has been playing quite well. When was the last time we saw Delo get turned upside down by a winger? I don't quite know. He's been playing well. He's been playing quietly quite well in these last few games. Lo and behold, you play him in a full-back position. He's going to look more comfortable. It is what it is. So, I will see you live and direct at 6:45 tonight. I'll also have the Cobby video, which I'm looking forward to producing and putting out. It's just, I suppose, a congratulations to him. Right, I'm going to wrap this up. If you are new in town, please do consider subscribing. And I'll see you later on tonight. Before United make it 5 from 5. Take it easy.